thank you to our sponsors. These are the good old days, and I'm not going to say that again. Unfortunately, I didn't work that in, and I'm on a strict script, so I'm not going to be able to say it. Sorry. There it is again. But we spelled "ol" differently with an E, and I don't know if that's Ole or ol. So, first of all, I'm really excited to be here. I'm thankful to be a part of this group. It's really humbling to be a member of a community of people that are making such a difference and doing things they love. So we'll start with that. Maybe that will endear me to you a little. But 5 years ago, I was laid off from AIG, which wasn't really the worst of things. It was a roadblock or a change in my life, if you will. And I went from kind of having a plan where I was going to have a $50,000 job and in 8 years have a $110,000 job in a quarterly reviews and those type of things to getting laid off. So I've told this story a lot of times, and my loved one suggested that I should always start with this because it's a big part of the story. So I was laid off from AIG. And how many people here have heard of King of Pops? I guess I'll start with that. So most of you have, and I do feel like I've told this story too many times, but I'll just tell it again anyway. I had been traveling with my brothers in Latin America. We had gone, he was working on his PhD thesis, and he had us down. He's a great tour guide. He would take us to interesting places, tell us interesting things like academics can. And we kept running into these paletas, which is the Spanish word for popsicle. They're sold out of these little push carts, and they have really, really great ingredients and interesting flavors, and kind of fell in love with it. I was still in college at the time, but we would be drinking rum on the beach and talking about how, man, wouldn't that be cool to one day have my career be to sell popsicles. And yeah, so for a while, that's all it was. It was an idea. And the layoff happened, which I alluded to earlier. A lot of people were laid off. A lot of people had it worse than me. They had family and wife and things to support. But for me, it was like, I'm going to move into my brother's couch. I'll hang out there. Maybe I'll start a popsicle business. So I had no expectations. I didn't really have any idea what I was going to do. I certainly didn't have a business plan. But I set a date that I was going to start. And it was April 1st. So this picture here is the mural that we painted. This is the middle of February. Not many popsicles to be sold in February. I didn't have a business plan, but I figured that out. And it was just one small thing that I felt like it was at least leading to something. But we set a date, and April 1st, we decided to go out. I like to say we just because it's like cool to say we. It was really just me. Decided to go out of this corner. So this is the first documented picture that I could find of myself. This is definitely within the first few days. I found it on Yelp when I was looking for a photo, and you can tell I didn't have a cart that was even branded appropriately. This is a different brand, La Constanidad. But at that day when I was sitting there, I was trying to make a deal with myself, and my deal was basically like, if I sell a popsicle, this is going to be pretty awesome. Like something worked. Something worked if I can sell one of these today. And we all do that. Like this morning I made a deal. If I hit the snooze one time, I maybe get to, I don't know, I'll work out or something, and then I'll have another deal of, if I get through my emails, then I'll get the $2 more expensive entree at lunch. Or tonight, if I get through this 8 minutes of speaking to you guys, then I don't know what my prize will be, but you just make deals with yourself. And it's something that maybe you guys all do too. You don't really have an exact, I don't know what the deal is, but it's a one-sided deal, and if this happens, then you're satisfied. That's all you kind of need. So that one, I wanted to sell one popsicle. Eventually a lady walks up, she buys a popsicle, she buys the tangerine popsicle. I kind of watch her for a while. She opens it really slowly. My packaging was difficult to open in those days. Still kind of is. We cut them now, but I hadn't discovered that service trick yet. So she's fumbling. She gets it open, and she tries it. And she doesn't immediately throw it away. That feels marginally better. And she finishes it. And I would kind of, you're pretending like you're not watching, like, oh, I'm busy over here with my payphone. But instead, you're definitely paying attention, and you want more than anything for this woman to like this product that you have, this one popsicle that you spent the winter trying to figure out the recipe that you'd never been taught anything about, and the last couple weeks perfecting, and now you're here, and you just told yourself you have to do it today. So she walks back, and she said, that was good. And maybe I'll be back tomorrow. Are you going to be here tomorrow? And I said, well, I mean, yeah, I guess I'm going to be here tomorrow, yeah. So yeah, tomorrow I'll be here. You'll be here maybe. That's like a passive thing that you said, but I'm going to count on you being here. And I didn't take a moment to ever appreciate that deal that had been accomplished. And this has continued and continued, but we'll go through some of the process together. So it gets near the end of the summer. We had been really successful. My brother, I somehow managed to quit as a practicing lawyer and start selling popsicles with me. And we were selling more than really we ever imagined. And at that point, our goal was really to have an existing business, something that existed beyond that, like something that was enough for me to not have to stay on my brother's couch, and something where I could buy a round of beer for my friends if that opportunity was to arise. So we're at the end of the summer, and we're not really freaking out, but kind of freaking out. I mean, it's winter, so we have like a built-in vacation. So the worst case is we take 3 months off and then have no business, which isn't that bad, but I'm making this deal. If people remember who we are next April, I've arrived. Like, what else is there? Like, I'm making popsicles for a living. I'm selling them out of these little push carts, and I'm enjoying it. I'm talking to people every day. I'm seeing things every day. I went to a burn bar mitzvah, which that was cool. So I did all kinds of cool stuff. And at that point, same thing, like, there was a moment where I knew in my mind that there was a business that people were now interested in. And I still never stopped to kind of acknowledge that anything had ever happened. So things continue to escalate. We get into Whole Foods. We go to Bonnaroo. Which I love that we have like this totally hippie vibe of surfers, and somehow Nick and I pulled that off, and none of us can surf. But we had this idea to continue to push forward. I think all of you guys have that. You have these goals that are bigger than what you're doing right now. Because if you were just trying to do what you're doing right now, that wouldn't be that exciting. So this is our end of the year festival. It's another moment where we're kind of thinking to ourselves, what do we do? How do we improve that? And we didn't, like I said in the beginning, we didn't have a business plan. But we did have this idea that, like, maybe we're working a little bit too much. So we were working like 16-hour days during this season. We justified it with the idea that after the season, for this amount of time, we work 0 hours, or maybe like 10 hours for the whole winter. And then the whole other time, we're working like crazy. But wouldn't it be nice if, like, we weren't touching dry ice for 30 hours a day? And, well, that's impossible. But if we weren't making pops all day, if we weren't out selling every single popsicle, and we get this staff, and eventually we're not doing that anymore. I think I just set a timer on this. It's making me nervous. So we eventually get the staff. We have the people. We're doing the work. I'm kind of doing different things. I'm not making popsicles every day. I'm not at the cart every day. It's not really more or less fun, but it is what my goal was in that moment that I also didn't stop to appreciate. So this just escalates. I mean, I think you kind of get where I'm going. We bought a farm where we grow a lot of our own produce and stopped erecting. We started a distribution company where we've helped a lot of companies our size start to distribute in a way that they couldn't with Cisco or GFI or some of the larger distributors. We're in 7 cities with a great staff in each of these cities that are following our model, but dealing with local produce and operating like they have their own business. And there's never been a moment where I stopped to appreciate really any of that. I seem happy, for sure. And I am happy. I don't think that's what I'm trying to get across here. What I'm trying to say is that we all need to take a moment and stop and think about all of the things you've accomplished. So for me, it's changing how we interact with local food, or it's changing the way our community views small businesses. Those are things that I'm passionate about, and those are the things that I'm like, once I do that, those are the deals that I'm making with myself right now, that if I'm able to do that, what else is there? And I think you guys probably have similar deals. Maybe you want to go public or have $100 million revenues next year, or maybe you want to become the next global icon. But what I want you to do, whether it's today, I would recommend today, maybe now, because I'm about done, or tonight when you're sitting in bed, is take a few moments, think to yourself about all the things you've accomplished, and just give yourself that.